Colts defensive tackle DeForest Buckner dealing with a back injury. He did not practice today and said he will be a game-time decision to play Sunday against the Packers.
It's time. You know what time it is? Time for Tuscaloosa's longest-running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports as we count it down. Wisconsin, we're going to be talking about it right here on the game. Got a big show lined up for you. We've got Brad Powers is going to join us at 4 o'clock. We're going to talk with Max Heller coming up at 3 o'clock, and then we'll talk to Bruce Marshall and then Rod Neal, and we may have a surprise or two as we continue the show. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325. Scotland Boulevard and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. If you're looking for a Tacoma, 3.99 APR for 36 plus a $1,500 loyalty cash. The 2025 Camry, 3.99 APR. And that Camry is averaging over 50 miles per gallon on the highway. You can find it and do the research and compare the specials at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Happy Thursday to you. Hopefully you're having a great day. I know I've had a great day. Very, very busy. Appreciate the rain, right? Even though it's coming in the way that it's coming, hopefully everybody was able to stay safe, and we look at a lot of the wind and how this rain will continue for the remaining part of the day. But catching up a little bit, I know our friends over at Northport Power Equipment have all the supplies you need if you've got a little bit of storm damage or if you're going down. And I was on the interstate yesterday and met a lot of power trucks and limb debris removal services. If you need some of those supplies, maybe if you're going down to help, or hopefully the damage is not severe. I've talked to some people down on the Gulf Coast. It seems like everybody's okay. I saw Mike Detillier tweeting out, all is good on the Bayou, and he's a guest of ours. So certainly thinking about all those and the impact of this storm, but also the beneficial rain kind of catching us up a little bit because we were in a little bit of a drought through the majority of the state of Alabama. But we're monitoring that. If anything happens to impact us from a local area, we'll make sure that we break in and we'll cover that if anything does break. But we're going to spend some time today taking your phone calls. We had a great conversation yesterday with two great guests, really three different guests. Aaron Torres, Fox Sports national analyst, Josh from collegefootballnerds.com, and then we also spent the last hour talking with A.J. McCarron, the All-American quarterback, and a guy that has played 9 years in the National Football League, obviously the XFL a couple of years, and continues to provide some great analysis. We enjoyed that. If you missed that, Tide109.com. You can find the podcast page, and remember to download all the content. Remember to download the Tide 100.9 app. I will tell you that the offensive line, it seems like, Wyatt, that they've able to progress, and I'm just kind of adding this to the conversation as we go. But the left tackle, it looks like Caden Proctor up until this point, because remember now, Thursday at this point, when we come on the air, practice is done, right? Practice is done. So Caden Proctor taking a lot of the majority of those first-team reps at left tackle. So it looks like going back to the Western Kentucky game, left tackle is almost in that rotation. This is me. Now, I've not asked anybody. I've not said, hey, give me some inside information. That right tackle spot almost seems like, based on my opinion, you go back to the Western Kentucky game that started out 63-0. It was a rotation that was expected between Wilkin Formby and Elijah Pritchett. I will tell you that it seems like that, based on what I'm hearing, at that right tackle spot is going to rotate. It's going to be one of those that you're going to see a little bit and see which one that we saw the latter part of the game on Saturday at South Florida, that when Elijah Pritchett came in at right tackle, that some of those concepts may have changed. And I know they were trying to take the air out of the football, and running that football picked up some real positive momentum. So at that right tackle spot, it seems like that there could be a rotation. Going on the road, I wonder if they'll rely on some of that rushing attack with Jam Miller, and you think about Justice Haynes. So that'll be one of the things that we'll dive into. But also, I want to take you to a conversation when you look back at Tuesday and Wednesday, we spent the majority of the day on the score prediction day. Monday, we spent the day really recapping and asking you to participate in the show. Today, we're going to do the same at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. But one of the things that we're going to dive into, 2 games in, you have to calculate everything based on, well, we didn't see Caden Proctor. Well, we saw 2 left tackles go down, and then you had to slide a guard out to tackle. Does that change your opinion? When you look at this season so far, 2 games in, this might be a better bye week conversation once you get to Wisconsin, but I'd like to do it now from your perspective. Have you seen enough that you should recalibrate your thoughts on Alabama? Have you seen enough to say, hey, I like what I see? Because I think there's a lot of positives that you can take away. We can look at Jalen Milroe taking another big step in the right direction. Seems like he's more confident in the Kalen DeBoer system in some areas. Now, some of the areas you're wanting to see more. You're wanting to see that. We asked A.J. McCarron yesterday, where would you like to see him take that next big step? And he answered that in a very constructive criticism way to say, okay, this is what I've seen him do, and this is where I want to see him take that next big step. Now, to be fair, when you don't have your left tackle, that's something in the back of your mind when you're going, how's my blind side going to be? Is it going to be okay? Am I going to have pressure from here? Always kind of second guessing if you're going to have that type of protection. So we'll see, I guess, now with Caden Proctor back in there at that first string, or expected to be at that first string left tackle and then that right tackle. And now you've really got that solid in the middle. Parker Brailsford, think about that, because there was some doubt coming into this season. Well, would that center be better? Well, we've seen that. Yes, he's an All-American candidate at that center position. I mean, he is an absolute dog. I mean, look at him, the way that he has played that center spot. So there's a lot of things that you probably should feel better. So this question is, 2 games in, do you feel better or do you feel worse? Do you feel about the same? You can answer it 3 different ways, or you can even answer it however you want to do it. Maybe you say, well, I'm still undecided. But when you look at this season, 2 games in, only 2 games at a small sample size, do you feel better or do you feel worse? If you said, I think Alabama's going to win the national title, do you feel better or worse? Maybe you said Alabama's going to win 10 games. Do you feel better or worse about reaching that milestone, that 10-win number? So we'll ask that question today. We'll get you involved on the phone lines. Not jammed up, but getting there. 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. As we count it down to the start, like I said, it was on in Madison, Wisconsin. We'll talk to Max Heller coming up. He's going to join the show from Madison, Wisconsin. We'll talk about it from their perspective. And, this is the part when you look at Alabama, they have a mindset, that script A. And I think AJ even talked about this yesterday. Everybody has been sitting in the weeds, waiting for this opportunity to hit Alabama, because they knew they couldn't take advantage of it with Coach Saban. Now they've got a new coach. And even though it may not be a lot different from a local perspective, they're still wanting Alabama. Alabama's coming to town. It's like, hey, it's the circus, right? Not saying circus, but it's the Rolling Stones. They're coming to town. It's Alabama. It's Alabama. Alabama, that script A coming to town. They are off the wall, excited to get the Alabama Crimson Tide, and it's a good barometer for them as they continue to maybe reestablish their program to get back in the Big Ten. So we'll talk about that. We'll discuss that. We'll take your phone calls right here on the game at 205-342-9904. Rodney Orr coming up in just a couple of minutes. Max Heller, Mike Heller is going to be joining us coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll talk to Bruce Marshall. We'll talk to Brad Powers. We've got 4 guests today, and then we'll do only 2 guests to get in. Just try to find a way to get in, and then who knows? When you look at the injuries, could they play a significant role? Absolutely. We've already seen them play a significant role. We're going to ask Rodney Orr to be a part of our question. We'll take phone calls coming up. It is a rainy, wet day, and as I was talking to Rodney Orr, TideRinsider.com, Rodney's from the Gulf Coast of Texas, not Alabama, and he said, hey, I can recognize hurricane rain anywhere, and Rodney, it is beginning to fall at a pretty rapid pace, my friend. It is nasty out there.
It really is. I got soaked, Ryan. I was getting ready to go in the grocery store when you called, and man, when the deluge, and I'm soaked. But anyway.
Well, I'm soaked, but here's the problem. I'm going to have to sit here for the next 4 hours with. I've already went no shoes. I know that really makes a lot of people gross, but it's better than that than wet feet, and that's where I'm at because the bottom fell out on me just a couple of minutes ago as I was walking in the studio. So I'm going to have to maybe dry out between now and 6 o'clock. But Rodney, let's go back to South Florida from your perspective. Just give me your big takeaways. We always like to do this kind of as our opening question every week.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing I said, Ryan, after last week's game when they beat Western Kentucky 63-0. It's like, okay, it's a great win, you great start and all of that. I wouldn't get too excited over that, believe there's a lot of other things to come and not sure how much we really know. And I think in this game, you could say the same thing, but just kind of in the opposite way. I know a lot of Alabama fans were disappointed in the performance. I know on TiderInsider.com there's a lot of griping and complaining, but I think they liked the way the team finished. But there was a lot of things there. Obviously, you could start with the offensive line and the shuffling that they had to do there. I think that created a lot of problems, obviously, on that side of the ball. But I also think, too, Ryan, you look on the defensive side, there was some miscues over there. There was some missed tackling, maybe more than that first game. I know there was a few times we sat up there in the press box and watched the receivers run right past the DBs. And even, beat Lawson on a wheel route one time. Those balls are completed, but I'm thinking, if that's Tennessee, that's 6. That's a touchdown. So just a lot of things I think obviously they have to work on. They had 2 touchdowns called back. They drop a ball, they fumble a ball at the goal line. A lot of things to beat themselves, and it did look bad. But at the same time, those games happen. I think afterwards, the real interesting comment to me was just listening to Kalen DeBoer say, you need these kind of games. It's not a wake-up call. It's just a raising the standard. And I think that's what he's saying is I think they probably learned a lot about their team and the direction they're going to move here in the future.
Rodney, let me ask you about the defense. 2 weeks in, is this defensive unit as a whole better than what you thought it would be?
Ryan, I'm going to say this, and I'm not dodging your question. I don't know. I think with this, that remains to be seen. I think USF is, probably pretty good. The quarterback had some opportunities to hit some throws, and, he didn't. But he's a really good runner, and he is a capable passer, but he just didn't hit some of his throws. You see some good things. Obviously, I think they're really intense. They're focused. They didn't tackle as well in this past game, but and I know statistically, I've seen a bunch of the statistics where they rate pretty well after 2 games. But Ryan, right now I'm just really hesitant to say a whole lot because I want to see them once they get in. This game against Wisconsin, I don't think Wisconsin's like the greatest offensive challenge they're going to face. But moving forward, once they get into the SEC, we're going to get a quick glimpse of maybe where this defense stands and the team as a whole for that matter.
Well, and I guess we could probably even break that down individually. Tim Keenan, the SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week, co-Defensive Player of the Week, broken down to the defensive side. He came to play football, and it kind of gives you some confidence that I know it's just one game against South Florida, but you're starting to see some guys maybe emerge that we thought could take that next step. And Tim Keenan, we could go to several different guys, but he grabs our attention because he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, Tim did a great job. He played really well. I think Tim Smith probably had a few plays. Jaheim Otis was in there. I think L.T. Overton's going to be really good. Obviously, at linebacker, Jihad Campbell has a chance to be a real star player, I think. Lawson's a good player. And, in the secondary, just a lot of those guys are young. They seem to be really aggressive. And like I said, they got beat on a couple of plays, but I think Kane Womack said, Brian, back in August, he said, I'm going to tell you up front, we're going to take some lumps. We're going to have some hard lessons learned because we're playing young guys back there. And, we just, what we know, we have to take those experiences and learn from them. So hopefully, they learned some things from this last game in that and have to suffer bad consequences from them. So, but you know what? Like I said, I'm not negative about the defense team or whatever. I just think that we need to continue to see them play a little bit and see how they improve, and then certainly going to ramp up. So that'll give us a much better idea.
It seems to, just based on what Kalen DeBoer has said, we can even go back to Monday prior to South Florida. He said it was going to be a week by week. Wednesday on the SEC teleconference last Wednesday, he said, hey, it's going to be probably more of a day-to-day. And then also even said that, hey, if it was up to Caden Proctor, he'd already be out there. Then on his coach's show kind of confirmed that we did not see Caden Proctor. But then the start this week, Kalen DeBoer has also provided a midweek update that he has been practicing, even on his coach's show last night. So it seems like if things continue to trend in this pace, unless there is a setback, you expect Caden Proctor at left tackle. I do.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think that's the way it seems to be going right now, and it's really good. They need to get the guys, the 5 or 6, however they're going to, do it in terms of if they're going to rotate some of these guys. Because, obviously Vandermark played a little bit. He's not going to bump out Tyler Booker, obviously. I don't know right tackle. I'm expecting, based on just a few things, that probably Wilkin Formby is still going to run with the ones, and then, maybe Pritchett plays some. I don't really know how they plan to handle that. Even, DeBoer said last night, he said, I haven't really figured out the rotation there yet. So those 5 or 6, they really need to work with those guys, continue to get them reps together, because, like you said, Ryan, there's got to be some cohesiveness on that offensive line. And, Proctor hasn't taken a snap yet this year. So hopefully they can get them all on the field together.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the topics that we discuss. When you look at Wisconsin, Rodney, what do you see?
Well, I think, first of all, I start with Luke Fickell. I think he's a really good coach. He did a fantastic job at Cincinnati, obviously got them in the playoffs. But I look at this team, and the first 2 games, I think, okay, they played Central Michigan, I think, or Western Michigan, and then they played South Dakota. And I'm thinking, how much time did they really devote to those 2? I'm sure they prepared for them. Don't get me wrong. It's not what I'm saying. But you almost wonder if they've probably spent a lot of time on Alabama since, June, when all the players reported back. So that's one thing that I think they've probably been prepping for this game. So I don't really take a lot from those first 2 games. But obviously, Ryan, I think Alabama clearly has better athletes across the board. And Alabama should be the better team. But you never know. You're going up there. It's unfamiliar territory. It's an 11 a.m. kick. Early morning, it's going to be a raucous crowd. This is one of the biggest games in the history of that stadium. I think they've only had like 2 or 3 top 5 teams come in like the last 50 years or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the statistic was, but they haven't hosted many teams on this level. Now, I know Ohio State's come in there a few times. Obviously, they played Michigan. Those are all great programs too. But this is certainly one of the bigger games that they've hosted, and definitely got to be one of the bigger out of conference games that they've hosted in a while. So with all that said, I think there's a lot of things that's going to be maybe working in their favor. Now, I will say this. We talked about the 11 a.m. kickoff. Because Alabama practices so early in the mornings, I doubt that 11 a.m. is going to probably bother them much.
That is a great point, Rodney. I never even thought about that until you just said it. But they are a morning team. And if you think about Alabama in the past, sometimes those 11 o'clock starts can be a little bit rumbling out of the gate, a little bit stumbling. That's a great point, because they get started their day earlier and earlier and earlier. We all know the rumors about different players trying to beat one another in the building. But, even as an average, 5 a.m. is a really good start for these guys. So, as you said, 11 o'clock is not going to be. All right, so when you were picking it on TITV with Gary Harris each Tuesday at 6:30, 10:30 on the replay archive on TiderInsider.com, what'd you have? What was your score?
Well, let me say this, Ryan, penalties. I want to talk about penalties just real quick.
Sure.
Alabama's got 126 in the country after 2 games. 13 in this last game. What was it? 120, 124, something like that. Anyway, you got 2 look, people can say, well, DeBoer's track record at Washington, he was like, I don't know, wasn't great last year in terms of penalties. They were around 100 or somewhere. But it's not just that. Alabama over the last few years, a lot of these same players they've been on teams that have had a lot of penalties. You remember they went to Knoxville a couple of years ago, had 17. They went to Austin, they had like 17. I mean, they've had some, issues over the last few years. Alabama hasn't. It's continued these first two games. But that's one key right there, Ryan, not just to this game, but Alabama needs to really focus on that. Now, hopefully they can get some of those things cleaned up. But I've picked it 31-13, Alabama. I mean, I think that, like I said, I just think Alabama has the athletes. And then I really think that Wisconsin's well coached. But I think Alabama has the athletes to go up there and hopefully they're extremely well focused, which I know they will be, and play a really, really good game. And I think they can run the football, too. I really do. I think they should be able to run the football on Wisconsin.
Rodney, I was asked the question earlier in Wisconsin. Now, they love to talk about rushing the football because they love the running backs. And they've got a history of great running backs. But he asked me if he thought this year's running backs are better than last year's running backs. I said yes. I think they are better. But we haven't seen that because of the shaky start to this offensive line thus far.
As far as the comparison goes, I really the thing about Jace McClellan from last year that I always liked Jace. I thought he could have been a really high quality back. The couple of those injuries that he had really slowed him down. Now, I don't mean necessarily speed wise. Maybe they did some, but I don't think Jace ever was fully back to what he had been before his first injury when he tore up that knee a couple of years ago. But I really like Jam Miller and Justice Haynes. I really like them both. And again, you're talking about a run game. Well, the offensive line has to get settled, and that's a big key for that. And but no, I like these backs quite a bit.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, TiderInsider.com, the editor, the founder. Rodney will have plenty of time to break it down next week. The Wisconsin trip, as you said, 11 a.m. gets you started. We've made the adjustment on Fox. That will be Gus Johnson, also Joel Klatt will be calling at 11 o'clock. But let me also say this. Now, Joel Klatt's been very complimentary of Kalen DeBoer. From a standpoint, he actually said that Alabama was a playoff team. Now, I don't know if he's changed his opinion, but I know to start the season, he was high on this football team and said, hey, I think Alabama could be a shocker. And you're still seeing a lot of people believe, even after two games here, you're still seeing a lot of believe. Brett McMurphy, I think, had him as a final team playing Texas in the national championship game, and even after 2 weeks. So,
wow. Yeah, Texas looks good, man. I mean, Quinn Ewers really, really looks good. Sark has done a really good job with him. He was talented coming in, but Sark's really helped him develop quite a bit. They look really good. Now, Michigan's not that good. Michigan's definitely not what they were. So it's kind of a, iffy deal in terms of really bragging on Texas, but I still think they look good. But, I guess we'll see. There was something I was going to mention to you. I think it was something you said, Josh from the College Football Nerd said, Ryan. What was that? He was said just get in the playoffs or something. Get there.
Well, and just try to survive, right? Just try to get in. And maybe this is – I tried to say on Monday, not asking you to recalibrate your opinion. Well, actually, I did ask you because I think this is a different college football. I mean, when you have injuries – just try to get in. I think, Josh, the way he said it, just try to make it into the playoffs. And who knows? Because we're seeing, in the NFL, it's just you get in the playoffs, have a spot, earn it, and then, let the chips fall where they may.
Well, it's really kind of interesting you brought that up because I know that on my board, one of the Tider Insider posters asked people on Sunday, I think it was Sunday night, said, okay, 10-2. Take it or leave it right now. 10-2 and in the playoffs, take it and leave it. Take it or leave it right now. And I'm sitting here going, you take that. You take that.
If you offered me 10-2 right now, I'm going to take that question, Roddy. I'm going to steal it from you.
Yeah. Take it.
You offered me 10-2 right now, based on what I've seen.
10-2 and a playoff berth guaranteed. Would you take that right now?
Yes.
Now, we had some people that said, no way, we'll never concede a loss. And I get it. I understand. But this is a little bit different now. And it's not 2015 or 16 where you had those, let's be honest. It's not a dominant team that we see yet. Now, hey, I don't know what it's going to be 6 weeks from now. But, I would take 10-2 today and say if you're in the playoffs, that's a hard thing to turn down. But I understand Alabama fans, you don't want to ever concede a loss to anyone.
It's a big topic of conversation. Nick Saban's also back in Washington, D.C. today with Greg Byrne, meeting with Senator Ted Cruz, Katie Britt from the great state of Alabama, several commissioners trying to get some of this NIL stuff under control. I wish them well. I don't have a lot of faith in what happens up in Washington, D.C., but other people may, and that's okay. You can have your opinion as well. But Nick Saban up in Washington, D.C., trying to get some type of help in the world of NIL.
That's interesting.
That's a great way to sum it up. I feel much more confident in making predictions around college football than getting help from the folks up there. So thanks, Rodney. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, Ryan, thank you.
Thank you.
You take care.
Thank you. Rodney or TiderInsider.com. But I did see Nick Saban up there meeting with congressional leaders, trying to make a case. I know that is one of his initiatives that, maybe he's trying. He almost, in a lot of ways, he created some of this. And I'm talking about not as a negative, but as a positive, right? He created some of this, and now he's trying to counter it. And I love the approach, because I think he authentically, and for those who criticize Nick Saban, he authentically cares for the game of college football. He understands the impact that it makes on locker rooms, situations that happen, whether this player's making this or this player should be making this, and coming in asking your coach, can you get a raise? Can you get a raise? I mean, the concepts that we're just not accustomed to in the world of college football. But let's go back to what Rodney said. Jackson, I want to get you involved as well. But Robert, 10-2. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I'm going to steal Rodney's question, because I think it's a better phrase than what I was asking. Do you feel better or worse? But would you take 10-2 right now? If I offered you 10-2, and I know what you're going to counter with, you're going to say, well, which two losses? Well, you pick those.
Well, I think
no Alabama fan's going to accept a loss. But,
no, right.
But they also have to be a realist, too.
I mean, especially when you're looking at this schedule and the away games we have to go through later in the stretch of the year.
Because some of those games seem even harder than maybe what they did back in the summer.
I think the Oklahoma game's looking a lot tougher.
Well, Tennessee.
Tennessee
too.
I mean, Nico looks good.
Well, and I wanted Oklahoma to drift because I wanted Josh Heupel to end up in Norman, because I hate him at the rival, because I see something there that he's building that's scary. Because one of the things that you combine with money is desperation, and they're desperate in Knoxville to get back on the winning way, and they're gonna buy their way out of it. Plus, they've got a coach offensively. Now, listen, I think this also sets up offensively for Kalen DeBoer. When this offense begins to click the way that I think it's going to click, then that's going to be a salesman pitch. Come to Alabama. Look what I did with Jalen Milroe. You see him last year? Look at this year. Watch this. If he's able to take this success and go to the NFL, and let's say, I don't know what round, but if you're able to flip the script and go from him to creating an NFL quarterback, he's already done it with Michael Penix. Michael Penix was not an NFL guy. He got with Kalen DeBoer, and he launched him in the top 10. Now, a lot of people are pulling for maybe he gets the start over Atlanta at some point this season. Will that happen or not? But it would help. It would help, because it would be another feather in Kalen DeBoer's cap going, look, I got a starter at the NFL. All right, we welcome you right back into the game. Let's go to Paul in Lincoln. Paul, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for calling in, Paul.
Oh, no problem. Enjoyed the conversation with AJ yesterday, Ryan.
Thank you.
He didn't hold anything back, man,
Hey, politically, we're probably pretty close, Paul. He might be on Team Trump.
I think we're.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're dead on. Nice to know there's a few more Patriots out there, Ryan.
Well, I wish more athletes would be given the liberty to speak out. He made a great point when he said, if you're on this side of the ticket, you can do that. If you're on this side of the ticket, you're supposed to keep your mouth shut.
Right, exactly. I wonder if many of your Swifties that listen to you were they offended by some of his political comments?
I'm sure, but ask me if I give a darn.
Do you give a darn right?
No.
He also, Ryan, one of the comments he made about you guys were talking about Jalen Milroe, and he said there were certainly things that Jalen needed to improve on to kind of take this offense to another level. Those are some interesting comments. But when you think about this, AJ's a 3-time national champion, so he's got the collateral to make observations like that,
Well, and it's hard to judge when you look at Jalen Milroe right now because this offensive line, but sometimes you have to ask a quarterback to play behind a rough offensive line. I mean, injuries are going to be part of the game. It just is.
Exactly. They are.
I've seen some progression in Jalen Milroe's game. I have. I've seen some areas that looks about the same, but I've also seen him do some things that I don't think he was very comfortable with last year. And we'll see if with some more comfort with his offensive line that maybe he grows in some confidence.
Right. If we can get Caden Proctor back Saturday, which it sounds like we are, solidify the right side, the right tackle, the core group in the middle are set. Then you get through Wisconsin. You got 2 weeks to get everybody on the same page heading into Georgia. Then you're probably going to be able to kind of make a judgment, where this offense is, because Georgia is going to listen. Jalen is going to see defenses. He's going to be defended similar to what he saw last Saturday night against South Florida. It's going to be jailbreak blitzes. You don't know what side they're coming from, what area they're coming from, because really South Florida kind of put a defensive plan out there now that's on film that everybody can see. So, and you're probably going to see a little bit of that Saturday too. I don't know if Wisconsin has the athletes to pull it off. That remains to be seen. But going forward, you're going to see those kind of defenses because now I can see defensive coordinators saying, and it really this is with any quarterback, but especially Jalen. You put the heat on him, they're going to force him to try to get rid of the ball, and they seem to maybe like their chances.
Well, and Luke Fickell's a defensive-minded coach. I'm not saying they have the athletes to line up, but I think from a confusion standpoint, they may give some different looks that create some confusion. But I think that's why you're going to see Alabama rely on the rushing attack. I think you're going to see them take advantage of that. Paul, would you take 10-2 if I offered it to you right now on a silver platter? And I said, Paul and Lincoln, I'm offering you 10-2 right now. Would you take it?
And the playoff bid?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd take it. Because right now, Ryan, if I had to put my mortgage on us going to Knoxville right now and beating Tennessee, I don't feel very confident right now. Just based on what I've seen out of them for 2 weeks and what I've seen so far from us. Now, listen, there's a lot of time, a lot of travel between right now and the third Saturday in October. But I think Tennessee's legit, just based on the eye test so far.
And I hate it too.
I know.
I mean, it just makes me sick in my stomach when I see that program rolling because I was kind of pulling for them to, like I said, I was hoping Josh Heupel was going to be headed to Norman very soon. That doesn't look like that's the case because Brent Venables seems to have found something in his mojo. But, hey, Paul, I'm against this top of the hour, man. You got anything else?
Just remember, next Saturday, Tennessee goes to Oklahoma, I believe.
I
believe they go to Norman. So that'll be sort of a homecoming for Josh Heupel. And what better homecoming for him than to go to Norman and put a beat down on the Sooners. And
there's some bad blood. He didn't like the way things were treated when he was the OC there. So, but hey, listen, it's your alma mater, man. At the end of the day, when you walk in that stadium, I hope they give him the reception he deserves. And he's up for the College Football Hall of Fame as well. So that's another little thought process there. But hey, Paul, appreciate you, man, as always.
Okay, buddy. Roll Tide, roll MAGA.
Roll Tide. Paul and Lincoln, we're going to Mike Heller coming up in just a couple of minutes. We're going to Madison, Wisconsin, Bruce Marshall, but we're going to squeeze in a lot of phone calls in between our guests. We'll spend about 10 minutes here talking about Madison, Wisconsin.
Make us want to give in. Lay down our arms, provocate us again. Lay down a fight I could never
Hey, we welcome you Right back into the game. We're 53 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide basketball. That's brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, reminding us to remind you, 53 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide basketball. I was on in Madison, Wisconsin. I got a little plug in there for Nate Oates. He said, hey, what happened to Leonard Skinner? Do you guys, because they were bringing me in to Sweet Home Alabama. And I said, well, it used to be the 4 o'clock song, but he said, how often do you guys play that in Tuscaloosa? I said, well, probably not as much as you think, because Nate Oates, when you take it to this Final Four, we have subbed in Toby Mack. That's what happens when Alabama goes to the Final Four. We recognize that. And 53 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide basketball, we are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. The 2025 Camry, 3.99 APR for $36. If you're looking for the Tundra, we're still offering that 1.9% interest rate with a loyalty cash discount. Also $2,000, $1,500 on the Tacoma 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. It is Tuscaloosa Toyota. It is TuscaloosaToyota.com. Let's go to Las Vegas. You guys ready to go? Let's go. Brad Powers, BradPowersSports.com. BradPowersSports.com. Brad Powers 7 on the Twitter account. Brad, welcome back to T-Town. I hope you're having a great afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for having me as always.
Hey, Brad, I want to spend a couple of minutes here looking back. South Florida, Alabama, a little sloppy in Tuscaloosa. Any takeaway from your perspective?
Pretty fortunate that the USF quarterback wasn't pinpoint accurate on Saturday night, but some weaknesses got exposed. Might be a good thing. Obviously not much got exposed the week prior against Western Kentucky. Everything looked pretty good other than a little bit of sloppiness, but you saw the Alabama offensive line continues to be, an issue like it's been the last few years. For the Crimson Tide, we'll see if they can get a little healthier and clean some of that up. Jalen Milroe didn't have his best performance, but in the end, I mean, you had some young guys that haven't been main key cogs. Made some big plays when you needed it most to get some margin there. So. You got to downgrade Alabama slightly. I'm not going overboard, but you didn't cover the spread, and it was a little bit of a misleading final for talking just Vegas speaking. So a little bit of downgrade, but not enough that has me running in the window to bet Bucky Badger this week. I can tell you that. Okay, well, that's where we're going, because when you look at this line, I'd like to ask you in a roundabout way, is this a fair spread? Because we see it go up, 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 up. I mean, I think it opened up around 13.5, 14 in some places. Now it's up to 16, 16.5 in some places. What do you think about the spread for Alabama, Wisconsin, 11 a.m. on Saturday morning? Compared to my ratings, it would say take Wisconsin, but okay. I haven't bet Wisconsin yet. My ratings say it should be closer to 14. I don't like what I've seen from Wisconsin so far. Maybe they've been playing a little possum, but this isn't even a Wisconsin program that if you've been watching college football the last 3 decades, this isn't one of their best offensive lines by any stretch of the imagination. They don't have that workhorse at running back, in my opinion, or even a guy that can, break a long one. Wisconsin's had as good as running backs as anybody in college football the last 3 decades. But Chez Mellusi's a good back. He's not, a Monty Ball, a Ron Dane, or anybody like that. So, and then I think more importantly, Tyler Van Dyke, their transfer quarterback from Miami, to me, and I watched both games, doesn't look 100%. Just that doesn't look right to me. So I think the edge rushers for Alabama should be able to get after him a little bit and test him. So I think it won't be perfect for Alabama. It might be a slugfest for a while, but I think eventually Ryan Williams, Jam Miller, break a big one, even maybe Milroe in a scramble, and Alabama will eventually get margin. It's all about value though, and the value was I bet Alabama -7 about 6 months ago in this game.
Ooh, Brad. That's why you always advise us, get the spreads early. If you're looking at a game, you always do this. I mean, you tell us all the time, look at the value. If you'd have got it. Now, was there a limited action on that? I mean, were there limits to that?
I couldn't have bet, my pickup truck on it. But, I made a bet, so a fair bet for me. So I'm content with that. I will say if it hits 17, I'd have to start thinking, do I want to play back a little bit? But right now, I'm just in wait-and-see mode. And right now, I think the best thing to happen to Alabama, if you're just a fan, was that the first 50-some minutes of that game last week. I think that'll have them laser focused for this game.
And that may be the thoughts. I mean, I think a lot of us were texting back and forth with our friend, just wait, I'd hate to be Wisconsin. I'd hate to be Wisconsin, because Alabama generally has a little bit of a bounce-back game after not covering the spread. I don't know if there's a trend out there, but let's go back to the surprise, because we've been asking the audience today, if I offered you 10-2 for Alabama right now, if I said, okay, Alabama, you got to be 10-2 and a playoff berth, should Alabama fans take that if I was offering 10-2 and a playoff berth right now on September the 12th?
They should. I mean, it's certainly better than what was expected a month or two ago as far as the market. I mean, Alabama was a slight underdog to make the playoff, and win total was 9.5 with the underjuiced, meaning, it was more likely they'd go 9-3 than 10-2. So, yeah, I would, if I was a reasonable Alabama fan, I would take that. That'd be a successful first season for Kalen DeBoer.
I want to dive into a lot of different games here. I want to talk about Oregon State. Oregon minus the 16 in Corvallis. Oregon State, Oregon minus the 16.5.
Ooh, I mean, if you watch the first two games for Oregon, I mean, how could you lay 17 in a rivalry game on the road? Although the market's betting them, it's went from 14. In fact, I think it's likely to probably, close 17 here. I mean, a lot of books are already up to 17. I'm not part of the Oregon money. I just got done watching the Boise State game yesterday, and it was even worse than I anticipated. Oregon scored a couple of special teams touchdowns just to win the game. So, I mean, they got a major significant issue on the offensive line. That I don't know if you can fix an offensive line is something that isn't an easy fix. So if they're going to come anywhere close to their preseason expectations, that's got to change quick, fast, in a heartbeat. Now, I think Oregon State will give them a game. They'll be fired up, but Oregon State to me isn't going to hit any explosives. They're going to have to slog up the game like Idaho did, not necessarily play stride for stride with them like Boise did. If it got any higher than 17, I'd have to bet Oregon State.
Missouri's going to be hosting Boston College. Bill O'Brien has this, Boston College team playing in the top 25, 2-0. They go to Columbia. They go there as an underdog. Mizzou minus the 16.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to learn a lot about Mizzou. I mean, they haven't really played anybody. A couple of tomato cans. No disrespect to Buffalo and Murray State, but I mean, I know people are talking about the Missouri defense not giving up a point yet, but we'll see, because I think, regardless of what you think about Bill O'Brien, I think if he wins at a lot of places that he goes to, and I think he was an upgrade at hire for BC, and he's got a good quarterback in Castellanos that is very mobile. He's got we just got done talking offensive line. I'll tell you what, BC has a very experienced offensive line that's been playing together now. This is their third year. After being horrific a couple years ago, now all these guys are juniors, seniors, fifth-year guys. So I lean Boston College in the game. I think they can slow the game down, have some lengthy possessions. So I'm not saying BC is going to win, but I think this is more likely a 10 to 14 point win for Missouri.
Ole Miss goes on the road. Ole Miss goes to Wake Forest. They go there as a favorite. Ole Miss minus the 22.5 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Yeah, I got to check, the weather. There's a little bit of issues there in that region for the weekend. But I bet the over. I mean, the obvious play. Wake Forest is in the top 10 in the country in tempo. Ole Miss, offense is number one in every major statistical category so far. So I went over 64.5. Not wild about laying 22.5 on the road.
Georgia, Kentucky, that is up in the Bluegrass State. Georgia minus the 23.5.
Yeah, nationally, I don't know it's getting talked enough about enough is the horrendous performance that Kentucky had last week. I mean, that was stunning. Almost as I would say as stunning as Notre Dame losing. I mean, the fact that Kentucky was favored by, just look at the expectations was Kentucky were supposed to win by 9 or 10 points, and they lost by 25. So, technically they failed to cover the spread by worse than Notre Dame did last week. So that was stunning to me that they got handled on their home field by a South Carolina team that I don't think is any good offensively. My power ratings say take Kentucky. My eyes and what I saw last week say I think the line seems fair at 23.5.
Arizona State and Texas State, two undefeated teams. Arizona State taking care of Mississippi State last week. It's Texas State minus the 2.5. That game is in Texas.
A lot of money today on Texas State. Probably one of the bigger moves that we've seen so far this football season. They were a 3-point underdog just a couple days ago. Now they're 2.5-point favorite. Almost all this money's come in a short period of time. I would say Texas State's the sharp side. Doesn't mean that the sharp side always wins, but looking like a Texas State win tonight. And I can tell you, big picture, go look at Texas State's remaining schedule. They'll be favored in every remaining game. They suddenly might become the favorite as far as the Group of Five playoff, the one auto bid league.
Arizona, Kansas State. That is tomorrow evening's Fox game. Manhattan, Kansas. Kansas State minus the 7 against Arizona. A top 20 matchup.
I don't like either team, at least from what I've seen so far, comparatively speaking. I mean, neither one's covered a point spread yet. I'll trust Kansas State's run game the most here, especially at home on a little bit of a short week. So lean Kansas State. Prefer the over. You look at both teams' offenses that I think have significant edges over the opponent's defenses. I mean, Kansas State's pass defense was horrific last week, allowing nearly 350 yards against Tulane's quarterback making his second start. And then, Arizona's rush defense hasn't been good. I mean, go look at the New Mexico tape. So over 60 and lean Kansas State. Nothing big either way.
All right, so go back to Alabama, Wisconsin. You're comfortable with that line, giving up 16? I mean, if you're not saying a big bet, because I know you said you got it at 7. Would rather have it at 7 and 16, but would you place it at 16?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't think it doesn't scream value back, especially. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Here's what I'll say: what I want personally, and just to show that I'm not placating an audience there in Tuscaloosa. For me to make a bet this week, if I didn't even have a bet on the game already, I need 17 to show for me to bet Wisconsin. That would be the buy price for me. 16, it's in a dead spot.
Okay. You think this line will keep going up, in your opinion?
I haven't seen anybody that's said that they loved Wisconsin. I've heard whispers that 17 would be that buy price in the market, but reading the tea leaves yet, haven't seen anybody wanting to take the Badgers yet. And usually Thursday is when the moves start happening because the limits open up. So the guys that want to bet, I'm not even one of these guys. The guys that want to bet 6 figures a game, this is when the money starts showing up, and I haven't seen anything yet.
BradPowersSports.com. Brad Powers 7 on the Twitter account. If you love college football, you're going to love Brad Powers' stuff. He puts up a lot of great content on the Twitter account. You'll find him at Brad Powers 7. You can also find him at Brad Powers Sports. 2 weeks in, you look like you need some help. Brad Powers can provide that help with some of his VIP selections. BradPowersSports.com. Hey, Brad, we'll talk to you next Thursday, man. Have a great rest of your weekend, and best of luck to you, my friend.
All right, take care. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Brad Powers helping us out there. All right, we're going right back to phone calls. I know we're going to be a little bit busy here with those. They're backed up. We're going to clean those up coming up in a couple of minutes. I do remind you about the Wharf. 1976, the work in Western wear for the entire family. You'll find it right there on McFarland Boulevard, right past El Gran Patreon. If you went to the Blue Plates, you went too far. It is the Wharf, the work in Western headquarters for the entire family since 1976. 60 different brands of boots. Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many, many more. It is the Wharf. Nuke Eatery, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. If you're looking for the Nuke's Q sandwich, the #1 sandwich across the franchise. How about a French dip sandwich? Yes, sir, absolutely. Chicken salad, the pimento cheese, you'll find those. It is Nuke's Eatery, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. It is Nuke's Eatery. Joel Brumfield, salads, California-style pizzas, sandwiches, 12-layer cakes. Nuke's Eatery. Let's go to Jumbo. Jumbo, appreciate your patience, man. I hope all is well, my friend.
It's good. Hey, that music you were just playing, Iron Man.
Okay.
You know whose walk-up music that is? Or was?
I do not. Help me.
The Road Warriors.
Okay.
Remember the Road Warriors?
I kind of vaguely. I mean, that's been back in the 80s when I was watching little WWF.
Yeah, they wore the shoulder pads and stuff from Spike.
Yeah, like Georgia. So,
the Hawk and Animal. They're both gone now. They passed away. But that was their walk-up music. I thought it was all right.
Speaking of WWF, I still follow on one of my Facebook accounts. is Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah, I mean, and I see him, and I'm looking, and he's always talking about, well, he's going to the doctor to get this, and it looks nothing like, he was a college football player before he got in the ring. So, anyway.
He was. Goldberg was. Goldberg, of course, played for Georgia and the Atlanta Falcons. There's quite a few of them that played college ball. So, The Rock played at Miami. Remember?
I guess he would have been on that 92 team when Alabama,
yes, he was.
When Alabama beat those guys. So
we didn't beat them. We devastated them.
Well, we did. I mean, I was trying to be kind, but why would I? Why would I be kind? And hey, Mario Cristobal seems to be having that program clicking, and I'm sure he's very, very proud of being an alum to return there.
Yep. You asked the question.
I did.
10-2.
10-2. Would you take it? 10-2 right now. I'm offering it to you on a platter. September the 12th.
I'm going to say yes. But with that being said, I still believe, and somebody a while ago said, I think it may have been Robert from Mobile, said that going undefeated and winning a national championship the first year is not even achievable. It is achievable. You also said a guy maybe Wisconsin was playing possum. Well, maybe we're playing a little bit of possum too. I think we had our biggest test of the year last week was Wisconsin. I don't think it's going to be that huge, but like I told Robert from Brookwood, I think first half will be kind of tight, and then we'll take care of the second half. But yeah, I would take 10-2 because that's still going to get you to the playoffs.
It would.
But I really believe that this team, if they come together, and usually by the second or third game is when the offensive line really needs to gel and everybody comes together, that we can pull this thing off. I believe it. I'm not going to back down from it. I'm staying positive. We had a lot of mistakes last Saturday, but it's nothing that cannot be fixed. We can fix it. So, you just got to look at the ball.
And I've tried to bring this in the 2 o'clock hour. I want to give a different evaluation. The bye week will give us a chance to reset, okay? But let's go back to Caden Proctor just for a couple of minutes. Okay.
All right.
He missed the spring. If there was anybody that needed the spring, it was Caden Proctor.
Of course, because of what happened last year.
Sure. I mean, he gave up a lot of sacks. I mean, I've seen some metrics out there that, just not good. I mean, Alabama in protect the quarterback was not good. So we thought this was at least going to be somewhat of a step under Coach Cap when we interviewed him, back in June, maybe it was May. Thought this offensive line was going to take a different step. Well, the injuries. I mean, you get before the game ever even snapped in a pregame warm-up, it looks like Caden Proctor is on pace to be able to go at left tackle. Then you go back. Yes. Oh, yeah. But that's not just Ryan breaking news here. I mean, it's Kalen DeBoer talking about it multiple different occasions, and I'm glad he did. He talked about it yesterday on the SEC teleconference. He talked about it last night on his coach's show. So far, so good. You could always have a setback. I mean, this guy got hurt in pregame warmups. So you look at the right tackle spot. We saw Wilkin Formby, and we saw Elijah Pritchett. And we're going to see probably a little bit of a rotation. If I had my guess, I think it's probably going to go back to this first week. The first week the plan was Wilkin Formby was going to get the start at right tackle, and they were going to rotate. And whoever earned that spot earned it. Your guards are fine. Your center is better than probably what we anticipated. Right. Hopefully, Caden Proctor has improved. We haven't seen him anything, right? We hadn't seen him since the scrimmage way back middle of August. If that right tackle can be settled, then maybe this team can get back on track from an offensive perspective.
Well, here's something to look at, too. This is a rotation, but it's also baptism under fire.
It is.
These kids are getting experience, and I'm telling you right now, when you get out there playing, I've never played in front of 80,000, 90,000, 100,000 people. I think the most I played in front of was probably 3,000 or 4,000. But to get in that atmosphere and be playing for really the greatest college football team still on earth today is going to fire you up, and it's going to be like, hey, I enjoy this. I want to do this. Because I'm telling you, if I was in shape right now and I wasn't as bad as I was from all that time getting thrown around and wrestling and run around on the flight decks, I would, I would love to get back in there. I mean, These kids have a chance to start writing their name in crimson flame. And it's like Coach Saban always said, next man up. But what are you doing in practice as a reserve to make yourself better so when your time comes to shine, you get in the ball game and you do what you got to do? And I still believe in that. And I think a lot of these guys still have that hanging on them. Proctor, me and Robert, I mean, we really, believe it or not, I think we're okay without Proctor. Like I said, this is all improvement week by week. You know, there's things we can make better. But I hope when he gets in there that he's grown up and he realizes, hey, look, we can be one heck of a football team if we get together and do what we got to do. But then here's something to point at Milroe. Milroe is the leader of this team. He's the quarterback. Don't think for 1 second when I played for Jack Cook and all those folks back in the 70s and 80s that they would not have stuck a foot up in my rear end or grabbed my face mask and said, hey, look, you need to do this. Jalen needs to do that to his offensive line. Look, guys, quit screwing around. Give me time, and we will pick these guys apart. And I think he needs to step up and do that a little bit. But that offensive line, I think we're going to be just fine. I believe it. I'm saying what I've said earlier, and I'm not jumping off of it. I think we have a very good football team.
Well, I would take the 10-2, but I'm like you. I think this team could accomplish that. But I mean, we're also looking. It's not just Alabama. You're kind of going into this going, all right, Tennessee may be a little bit better than what we thought. Hey, look.
Really?
No, I think they are. You don't think so?
I don't think they played a good defense, and SEC defenses are a whole different ball game. When they get a hold of us in Georgia,
but Jumbo, I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate, but I mean, we could say the same thing about us.
I understand that. I get that, but you know, I'm an Alabama fan, so of course I'm going to say what I say.
Right, I get that.
I mean, if we go up in Wisconsin Saturday, Camp Randall, and we come out of there with a 3-touchdown plus win, we got to start looking like, hey, we really got something here. You get a week off to really fine-tune everything. Georgia comes to town. Everybody thought they was going to beat the crap out of us in the championship game last year. Even me, I said it. But I don't think so this time. I just don't think so. I really believe in this football team, and I believe in this coaching staff. Don't be negative. Be positive. Look at what we can build on week by week and get behind these guys and say, look, guys, we're here. Let's do this thing. And they can do it. I mean, it is not doable. It's doable.
I don't think there's any doubt it's doable. Will they do it? Yeah, I mean, I hope so, because I'd love to be able to serve up a lot of crow. I've been talking a lot of smack throughout this offseason, Jumbo.
Well, you know, I told you guys that if they didn't do it, which I don't want to think that way, I would eat every bit of crow you got. But be honest with you, I'm really positive about what's going on. I can't say any negativity because I'm not seeing any negativity. I'm seeing stuff that we can build on as a football team. And getting out there and practicing week after week and doing what this coaching staff says to do and preparing these guys for this game, Wisconsin, I don't care about Georgia and Vandy and all that. I'll worry about that when the time comes. Go up there, take care of business, then we come home, recoup a little bit, you know, kind of lick whatever wounds we got. Everybody work on what they got to work on and then get ready for the next one. And I think we're in great shape. I really believe that we're in great shape. I can't say anything negative right now because of the way they played that last 6-7 minutes in the ball game the other night. And I think they wore that defense down. I really do. I'll stick to that. But, you know, like I said, you got to give Florida props. I mean, they come in ready to play football. And then it's just like we've all talked about, you, me, Robert, all of us. We are everybody's Super Bowl. They are going to get so pumped for us. And Randall's going to be rocking Saturday. I'm telling you, at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, that place is going to be rocking. Probably Friday night it's going to be rocking. So this is a big one. I think we come out of there with a 21-point win. I'm really convinced. I said 38-13, and I'm staying with it.
There you go. Thanks, Jumbo. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, one thing right quick. I want to say thank you to all the police officers the firefighters and the first responders, because those guys, they go through a lot and they put their lives on the line every day. I wanted to tell you this yesterday, but I got caught up in a moment of something else with the military. So I want to thank all them guys.
And I will say this, you got a lot of feedback from people that were listening to you, fellow Navy people, but also police officers. Yep. You said something yesterday that I know that we got several app messages about, and just to let you know, I think a lot of people, Jackson, you've got a couple of those. Jump in there and read them.
I've got, Bama Nick sent a message yesterday after
fellow Navy guy.
Your spiel. Yeah.
Jumbo,
he said, from one Navy veteran to another, Jumbo, thank you, brother, for your service, and sailors as well. As all military veterans, thank you, too. But like Jumbo said, I want to thank the wives of the service members for doing what they do. And then Papa D also wrote in, I'm a veteran myself. I heard the most awesome response to the phrase, thank you for being a veteran. The response was, it's an honor protecting you. Tell that to Jumbo whenever you get him back on.
There you go.
Oh,
you just
wow.
did. Thanks.
Amen.
Thanks, Jumbo. Appreciate you.
Hey, yeah, everybody, just those police officers, firefighters, they put their lives on the line every day. So.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. No doubt. Jumbo helping us out. Let's continue with more phone calls. 205-342-9904. Robert Brookwood. Robert, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good. What's on your
Beautiful
mind?
Weather.
Oh, it is. I just got an alert a couple of minutes ago. Are we under a tornado watch?
No, alert went off. It was just a flash flood warning. I have that NOAA weather thing in my kitchen. It goes off and it tells you what it is. So if that's the same thing, I imagine the same thing goes off on cell phones.
Well, I think I got an alert just a couple of seconds ago. Yeah, we do. We have a tornado watch until 10 o'clock tonight. National Weather Service has issued a tornado watch, not a warning, a watch, in effect until 10 p.m. this evening for the following areas, which does, let's see if I'm making this right. Yep, Tuscaloosa, Bibb. I'm just looking at the counties that are surrounding Shelby, Jefferson. So looks like we're under a tornado watch until 10 p.m. It includes the following counties: Autauga, Coosa, Jefferson, Montgomery, Perry, Tuscaloosa, Bibb, Dallas, Lowndes, Shelby, Chilton, and Elmore counties. So kind of in all this storm that's moved through our area. And a lot of rain, but a beneficial rain that we needed.
True. What were you saying about 10 and 2? What's the question?
All right, so the question is, I was going to go better or worse. How do you feel about this season so far? 2 games in. And I know the easy answer would be it's too early. There's not enough sample size. But you have to judge on what we can see so far. Rodney Orr kind of twisted around and said, well, this came up on my board. 10 and 2, would you take it? 10 and 2, would you take it?
Well, I think at worst 10 and 2. But I'm still sticking with my Georgia prediction. I started back in January. I still think they're going to get us. But I think we'll win out, play them again, then beat them. Then we'll go from there.
So you think they'll get us?
So 11-1 for me.
See, I'll be honest with you. The Georgia game doesn't scare me as bad as some of the others. I'm going to tell you why. They run the same defense that we ran here. And what is the one area that Nick Saban always struggled with? A quarterback that could extend the place.
Well, they don't have that.
I'm talking about us. Going up against their defense. Because we always struggle with slowing down a mobile quarterback. Go back to the SEC title game last year. Go back.
Yeah, they struggled slowing Jalen down.
They did. Just go back and look at the numbers.
Well, he won the game the last series. He made 2 straight first downs on run.
He did. So when you look back at that game, knowing that that's here, and I get it. I mean, listen, Alabama, this is probably something that we'll talk about on Tommy's coming up here in a couple of minutes. He's probably going to be mad at us, but because we're looking ahead to Georgia, we should be focused on Wisconsin. But they probably have a revenge on their mind. I mean, Robert, they were headed for 3 in a row.
Well, that's what I've been basing on the whole time. It's just their D1. I mean, I hope to God we beat them. I'll sit on here and all the crows you got. I just think Georgia's D1, but I think we'll get them again. I mean, what would you, if you had to have losses that played Georgia twice, we'd all want to go 2-0, but you'd rather win the SEC, the one that counts, instead of the regular season, instead of beating them here in Tuscaloosa and losing to them in the SEC championship. So, of course, beating them twice would be great. I just think Tennessee, it's too early. NC State struggled with Western Carolina the week before. There's a reason for that. NC State, I don't think is as good as people thought they were. Tennessee's still going to have to show something. But yes, that trip to Knoxville is scary, if that's the one you're talking about. There is no other game on the schedule that scares me. At Oklahoma, no. At LSU, no. Brother, trust me. I have a friend that's a big LSU fan. Believe it or not, I got a friend that's an LSU fan. He said, there's trouble down there. He said, they couldn't stop Nichols for nothing, and Nichols is one of the worst teams. They finally pulled away and won 42-21 or something like that. He said, it was very disappointing in Tiger Stadium. He said, everybody was disappointed. I said, well, couldn't happen to a better team, but whatever. I'm not worried about LSU, but the Tennessee game is kind of scary.
I'm not worried about LSU, but just knowing, I mean, Robert, we haven't had the best of injury luck. I mean, it's been around here forever. We blamed, everybody, then, Tom, Dick, and Harry, hey, it's this guy. Poor Scott Cochran. I mean, we drug him through the mud. It was his fault. The injuries, I mean, before we ever even played a snap, we lost an offensive tackle to an injury, to a shoulder. Well, that shoulder injury can be a little bit of a nagging injury. I think, to me, last week was more about, okay, if he's not able to go, if we're not able to manage this shoulder issue, can Tyler Booker give us enough at left tackle that we can manage and navigate some of these difficult waters?
Well, we you just don't even try Proctor this week. Give him another this week. Next week,
Robert. And I thought that too. I don't think that's going to be the method. I don't think.
Well, I would have said that, Ryan, but you had a guest earlier that said something from Wisconsin, said that defensive line's not that great. You remember him saying that? The guys put their fingers to the dirt. I kept hearing him say, so if you can't block them and they're not the greatest, you are in trouble with backup. So I wouldn't play him. I'm like Jumbo, and you said a while ago, well, he didn't go through spring. We don't know what he's going to be like anyway. If it's anything like last year, that's old. Did he not give up more sacks than anybody last year?
I need to go back to ProFootballFocus.com and really study that. I don't know if he was the number one guy, but he did give up a ton. I mean, Alabama as a whole last year in sacks allowed.
Well, now, I hadn't heard you mention. If you did, I'm sorry, but how's that going so far this year? The first two games,
they've improved. Okay, so last year they were 129th in the country and giving up.
Oh God, yes. 40-something sacks, wasn't it?
It was almost 50. It was 49 sacks. 49 sacks when you look at it. This year they've improved that number, even with some of the offensive line. They're up in the 80s. Let's go to average per game. I think they're at 86. That's where they're at, 86. So they're about 2 sacks per game. Yeah, they're right at 2 sacks per game, and last year they were double that. So yeah, they've improved.
Well, you hope it gets better, but penalty wise, where are they ranking in that?
Every time you see Milroe take a hit, and he took some big ones. There was a couple that you're like,
the guest who said that
is he going to get up?
Brad Powers said, South Florida within a year might wind up being better than what we thought. They looked the part on defense anyway.
Well, that Alex Golesh is pretty good as far as scheme wise. He gets mismatches.
He is it. And you have a good point. He ain't gonna stay. He's not gonna stay there long.
No. And
he was in charge of the offense at Tennessee 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I aggravated the athletic director. He was walking through, and I caught him just for a couple of minutes. I said, "Hey, congrats, man! I know you're probably not the outcome that you're looking for, but I said, man, you guys fought, pretty difficult. You guys gave us a handful. So when you look at it, I said." And he goes, "Oh, hey, thank you for the kind words." I said, and you got a pretty good football coach. He said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "I hope we can keep him there." that was his exact words. And, that's one of these programs that, they're financially, they're probably not going to be able to, go out and swing for the fences. But from a mismatch standpoint, yeah, Josh Heupel's a huge part of that. But
I bet you they could beat Florida right now.
And you almost wonder if they benefit. I don't know their roster enough. I know they got a lot of juniors and seniors. But have they benefited from the Sunshine State being down a little bit? Because I know Miami's back this year, but they've really been down for the last
Florida State's down. Florida looks horrible.
Miami, I don't know if that's had time to catch up with them. But Florida, Poor old Billy Napier, bless his heart. He looks like he's going to be
he is a good guy.
Billy Napier's a really good guy.
Nick Saban seemed to like him. He's always had good complimentary words about him.
He was a heck of a recruiter. And he was a wide receiver coach. Really, if you look back at some of those, great wide receiver classes, he was, and it comes from a pedigree. His father was a coach as well. So he's got it. I think it's deeper than just a head coach in Gainesville. They've had some pretty solid coaches after Urban Meyer, and something just cannot get back on track.
Well, who cares, Ryan? They were so arrogant. Spurrier's the most punkish, arrogant coach I've ever, Is he not the one that laughed at the demise of Alabama, told our own athletic director that you can't fix this?
And he's still in the building. He's still in the building.
He's still in the building. That's the problem there.
That's the problem down there. They don't get rid of anybody. Whether it's Jeremy Foley, the athletic director, it's like, okay, we're going to move you in this role, but we're going to be right down the hall. I wonder if some of that has to do with it administrative-wise. But, hey, Robert, thank you, man. So Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports. As we get ready to enter the 5 o'clock hour, we're all phone calls the rest of the way. We are going to be getting a lot of different things here in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to be doing our SEC Parlay Pick Contest. I want to remind you about the Tuscaloosa Toyota Golf Classic happening at Old Colony Golf Complex. It's happening all weekend. I know rain today kind of set up a pretty nasty day for the Pro-Am, but tomorrow the official round start. Go out and support these ladies. The LPGA qualifier, the Tuscaloosa Toyota Golf Classic. Tomorrow I'm sure that we'll be talking about that quite often. Brian Harden Construction always says, hey, talk about those ladies out there trying to earn a LPGA qualifier tour or a qualifier on their tour card during the qualifying event. That's happening at Old Colony. It's a free event. Go out and support.
And then if you're an Alabama person, you let it roll.
But I will say this, though.
Can I admit something?
Yeah, sure.
We didn't play this song when I was at school here. I had no idea what they were saying until last year.
No. Hold on. Time out. McMoney wrote an entire article on the lyrics. Ryan McMoney, which now works in the athletic department.
Yeah, I loved him. I met him the other day. You introduced me to him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so he gave me
I shouldn't have said that. He's going to get bombarded now.
Okay. So he gave me the lyrics to this song, and I went, they're not really saying that, are they?
Exactly.
And now, if you go into the stadium, it's like beat Auburn, but it's not really beat Auburn. It's kind of like it's got an F in there, but I don't think it's beat.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's but the amplified and I'll never forget when Greg Byrne walked by me one time on the sidelines, and he goes, I said, what are they saying? And he goes, beat Auburn. Isn't that what they're supposed to say? And I just looked at him. But I am glad because he reestablished that. He brought that back. After it had been taken away, and
right.
And that is
big.
It's a song that resonates with the players too. I mean, it's.
I'm gonna tell you, when you have all those beautiful girls at the University of Alabama and they're singing "Up Against the Wall,"
okay, but
it's moving.
But now hold on.
It brings a tear to your eye.
This can connect the dots, okay? Because I have a young niece, okay? Okay. You have a daughter, okay? You have a daughter, okay? No. But be honest with me. Does it not make you a little uncomfortable?
It will then.
Because if you're sitting there in the seats and they're going, what are they talking about? What are they talking about?
Does that.
Okay, good. But one day she's going to look at you and she's going to say, you sung along to those lyrics.
Well, all the girls are singing along.
What are you saying, James?
They're all singing along.
That's right. I don't sing those parts.
They know.
Near my daughter.
Okay.
I'm not going to say those type of words.
Well, everybody else is. It's not like you can hide her.
That's when we go get a drink.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's time to go get some cotton candy. It's time to go get some
get some Dippin' Dots or whatever. Spend a good $130 on Dippin' Dots in a water. But we got to get to the game. We got to get to the game. Get to the game. People is going to be mad. Luckily, no one. Hey, I get some time today, and I'm a little and not feel as guilty because people aren't trying to get scores in. I just want to put this out there.
Okay.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I love talking to you. I love the time we get. I love how much fun we have. Everything, but deep down, it does bother me when people upset because they couldn't get their scores in and stuff like that. I'll be honest. It bothers me. But today is not that day.
Yeah, today's not that day. Yeah, but then we are jammed up though. We are. I mean,
I know.
We got 2.5 hour waits right here. So
okay. I know that, and I've been waiting for 4 hours now.
3 hours and 15 minutes. So I appreciate the Well, actually, 3 hours.
The dedication.
3 hours and 16 minutes and 7 seconds. So
there you go.
But I guess the biggest thing is, how was you able to get AT&T to hold on for that length of time? Because that's.
I don't know. I'm out of town right now, so I have no idea what weather is hitting Tuscaloosa right now. I'm up in South Side, up near Gadsden, and we've got a lot of wind today, but there's nothing else going on.
No. Complete nasty here in Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
Vertical raining, wind, rain, and a tornado watch.
Are you going to let me get to the game?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. No, go for it.
All right, so I got a question for you.
All right, let's go.
Was that not the same officiating crew that officiated the game in Knoxville?
No. That was Jason Autry's crew.
So it wasn't the same.
It was not, but it was the same crew that went to Auburn and put a second back on the field and they walked over to Nick Saban and said, okay, so I've got a little theory behind this.
Well, didn't we ask for that and beg for the second?
Okay, but no. I'm talking about the other way around. This was going into the game. What was it? 2 years ago, down in Auburn, and they looked at Nick Saban and said, "Listen, there's only 1 second. It's not a tough time to get the snap."
I'm sorry. I should have cut you off.
No,
tell everyone what you're talking about.
Okay,
tell everyone what you're talking about.
This was the game. This was the same crew. This crew's a bunch of turds, but anyway, I'm trying to be nice.
Well, they're not as bad as that crew up in Knoxville.
Okay, and that's Jason Autry's crew. I think it's Jason Autry. And I can give you the address of where he works at. I've done so much research on that guy.
Only you and professional gamblers know the names of the officiating crew.
Well, but he got me mad because he did that double fist pump when he did the touchdown. You remember when he did the targeting?
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Oh, my Lord. I'm telling you, I could have chewed nails. But anyway, this crew that was here this past weekend was across the state. This was the one where they went to Nick Saban and said, there's no way there's enough time. They'll never get a snap off. And really calmed Nick Saban down and said, it's a problem, but it's not really a problem. It's just 1 second. They don't have enough time to snap the ball. What happened? They snapped the ball, kicked the field goal. Auburn went in with momentum. That was that game.
Wasn't that? Oh, okay. So they've done that several times because Gus did that one time too. And they ran out there and they said, don't worry about it. There's no way to get the kickoff. Voila. Is that the game you're talking about?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the same crew. The same crew. And
a bunch of dirtbags.
So that's a problem. And
that to me, I know everyone. Look, I know there's a lot of hype to start the year, and deservedly so. I'm all hyped. I'm still hyped because let me tell you something. 7 holding calls negating 2 touchdowns in one half is basically a death sentence for a team, and we still blew them out. Took a while, but finally we overcame the officiating. Let's not hit the panic button.
Well,
let's not hit the panic button.
The one call, because I'm sitting on the far side watching my binoculars because I can't see. The one call about Ryan, the non-call, because we saw Kalen DeBoer explode.
Oh, when he got undressed?
Yeah. His jersey was on his side. His shoulder pad was hanging out, and they held him from the line of scrimmage all the way down the play. Then they tackled him on the play. He almost made the catch, and there was no call. There was no nothing. That was the worst call. And an official was staring right at that call.
Hey, do you remember what I don't know if people noticed this or not that were home watching the game. Do you remember the crowd when South Florida actually was called for a holding call in the second half? When South Florida gets a holding call in the second half and the entire stadium stood up and cheered. I mean, to let the officials have it. You don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but I'm in an aquarium called the press box, so sometimes I can hear the crowd, sometimes I can't.
It was like they finally gave him a holding call, and the whole place went berserko, like we scored a touchdown or something. It was great because it was just ridiculous. It was kind of like the moderators the other night. It was it was, how many officials are there in the officiating crew?
Is it 8, 9?
Okay, so it was 20 against 11. You know, it was kind of like
it was Tuesday night. It's 3 against 1. It's kind of one of those situations.
Yeah. They were the moderators, the officials, right? There's a lot of fact checking going on with us in the first half. First 3 quarters of that game.
Well, look at we hadn't even made it this targeting call, Justin Jefferson. And you're a guy that's always protected the player. You've always sided with the player. If we're going to remove that,
you want my opinion on that?
Go for it. Let it rip.
You want my opinion on that? He lowered his head. It's just instinctive. When you're ready to make a tackle, it is, and you're really wanting to deliver a bullet. And let me tell you, every one of those guys wants to deliver a play.
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
Right when he got to him, instead of keeping his face mask up, to me, from what I saw, now I'm at the game. I'm limited to what I can see.
Sure.
But what I saw was that right when he got ready to hit him, he lowered his head and he hit him with the crown. I hate it, but for him, because I don't think it was like intentional targeting, and he didn't leave his feet, he didn't lunge, he didn't do all that. But to me, it looked like he did slightly lower his head, and they're going to call that. And miraculously, the officials didn't throw the flag. It was the office that called in and ruled it that way.
Okay, no problem with the call. If you want to protect the players, fine. Yeah. But in the depth that we're at in college football, we need to watch the game, right? Going to Wisconsin, they've got a player. Alabama's got a player. To me, the suspension doesn't need to be there. It's kind of like that walk of shame that they used to do. I hated it. Absolutely hated it, where they would escort the player off the field. There was no need for that. Why? To embarrass the guy?
Walk of shame.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about in college when the girls were leaving my room, going back to their place.
Well, I mean,
Jackson knows what I'm talking about.
Jackson, do you know what he's talking about?
Vaguely.
Jackson's got a girlfriend. Don't put him in the spot.
Hold on. What am I missing here?
Don't put him in the spot. Roll Tide. Yeah, Roll Tide. Just say Roll Tide. It's okay.
Roll Tide.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right, let's keep going. I just really felt like the officials are causing us to have a breakdown, a meltdown. And this is what I'm going to say. You know, because I felt like there were 2 different things that were going on at that game, during the game, that I just wasn't really expecting. One was the pro-Saban loyalists and how hard it's for them to embrace the change, because they came out, they weren't happy about a lot of things, but you hadn't heard anything. During that game and after that game, I've heard a lot of chirping, a lot of different things. I knew it was coming, because when you have the greatest program in the history of college football and you decide to, break it down and build back better, the concept of building back better, the best thing that's ever been built, is hard on some people. And I remember when Bear Bryant left Alabama. And I remember Ray Perkins, and what was one of the first things he did? Do you remember?
He took down the stairs.
Yes. And then when he started losing, what did everybody talk about? He took down the step. He took down the tower. He took down the tower. That had nothing to do with what was going on. And I just knew, it's because they're playing music, and how about the ice cream? And I texted you that in there because I knew it was coming, I could just see it. And I just want the Saban people to know, we all still love Coach Saban.
We do.
We're never going to forget Coach Saban.
But we also owe it to DeBoer.
Yes.
Because he came here when he didn't have to. He was willing to say, you know what? I'll follow the legend. I believe in my system.
What guts? Not only you do that, but
I said it today in Madison, Wisconsin. That's where you got to start. If you want to talk about the culture, that's part of it. But going back to Coach Perkins, right. I'll never forget Red. I've still got him in my phone. I'm at Dreamland raising money for Kerry Good. Coach Perkins just talked about his player, Kerry Good. And Red walks up to Coach Perkins during the break
What year? How old is Perkins here? Is he retired and all that?
This is probably 2014, something like that.
Okay.
Red walks up to him. Coach Perkins did an entire hour with me helping raise money, and Martin was there as well. Red came straight over to the satellite, over to the remote table, and he walked up and he said, "Why'd you take down the tower?" And I went, "Oh, my."
That was like the burning question for everyone at the time. I'm telling you. And Red just said, "I don't want an answer." What did he say?
He came straight in the door, and I saw it because he'd already said he was going to do it. Here he comes, marching in the Dreamland. I'm in the back of the restaurant with a big chair, the wooden chair that Big Daddy used to sit in.
Yeah.
And Red
with
comes
the mop
directly,
and the pipe.
Directly over to him and literally said, "Why did you take down the tower?" And
what did he say?
Well, they got up and they talked, and it looked like somewhat of a cordial conversation. I mean, it didn't look like it was getting heated.
I'd love to know what that answer was.
But
because that's still a burning question. All right, we'll move off of that.
All right, and I got to get to the break
I want to talk
quick.
about. I know. We got to
because we're at 23 after.
I'll do it really quick. This is all I'm going to do. I'm a big Milroe guy. You agree?
The biggest I know.
Okay. You know why I'm a big Milroe guy?
I don't know.
He's our quarterback. And I just want everyone, look, every quarterback has his warts, okay? No, he's not good at throwing short. No, he's not good at throwing necessarily medium passes, even though that pass to Hollywood was NFL-esque. Where he placed it, how it got there, the speed, everything on it, that's NFL. That's NFL throw. I don't care how tight the coverage was. That was there. I just want to say everyone has warts, but the last thing I want to see us do as a fan base is turn on it or have any type of thing going on. And I understand the criticisms, and they're out there. But you know what? We're not going anywhere without. I said sharks. But
we got the dump button. Thank God.
I said shark. I mean, but I'm just saying, look, guys.
Shark, how you spell
I
that
don't
again?
know. Do you know of anyone that could play behind the line that he played behind last year?
No.
You know, let's just put it out there. So does he have some warts? Yeah, he does. But look, let's enjoy what we have. Let's enjoy it. Now, if he drops 3 or 4 games and throws a bunch of picks and fumbles, everything, that's one thing. I still don't want us calling kids out by their name. You know, hating on a true freshman or whatever.
Did you hear the opening spot on Monday at 2:00?
But by you?
Yes.
No, I was working. I'm sorry,
okay.
But did you say stop it?
I went after the fan base on 2 different angles because one was the right tackles situation. I saw some very memes that doesn't represent our fan base. Okay,
no, it does.
And I'm not going to say it on a public platform, but I saw some of them. I saw some of the messages. I was not very happy, and I came in with a little bit of a rant.
Did you see my post on Facebook about it?
I did.
You know,
so
just to let others know, if you don't want to go to if you want to go to T-Town and look it up, it's fine. But I told the story about a freshman playing in his first game against Ohio State for Alabama.
Yep.
And everyone was howling. Why is he out on the field and just cursing him and this and that? And it was Derek Thomas. No one knew who Derek Thomas was.
All right, Jackson just gave me the double bird like
normal. I know. We got to go. Hey, I appreciate the time. I appreciate the banner. My request is Saban people embrace Coach DeBoer.
Oh, I thought you were about to say embrace
and what he's doing.
I thought that's what
No.
Because Paul didn't do it today. All right, anyway.
I'm not finished. The fans embrace our quarterback and our players. They're wearing crimson. They could have. These guys could be anywhere. They're wearing crimson. They're ours. Embrace them. And last and not least, embrace the suck. S, capital A, capital U, GK.
I've got to do the pharmacy at Midtown. The pharmacy at Midtown. TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627. The pharmacy at Midtown, 1800 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 334. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time, packaging, compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility. The pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas. Tony, be good. All right, let's go to Josh in Georgia. Josh, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well, Josh.
Everything is great. We are just getting closer and closer to this game, and I told Jackson whenever he put me on hold, I said, dude, for me, this game's starting to just build. I mean, I know Wisconsin is unranked, but at Alabama, it is Wisconsin. It's two big-time programs.
It is.
Well, and they may not have the prestige that we do.
And let's say we go up and give them a butt whipping. And we give them a
like
thumping.
49-10 like I predicted?
Yeah. So let's say we go up there and give them a thumping. I don't care what their team is. I know they got 8 starters back on defense, 7 on offense. It'll be a confidence boost going into the Georgia game.
Oh, so for sure.
Go up and hammer them. Go up and beat them. Beat them at their place. And I think, really, if you look at DeBoer, he said that on Monday.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you something I want to say, no matter what the score is I want to say something that we failed to do in the Swamp 2 years ago. And I'm sitting at home watching this game on CBS. It was a 3:30 kickoff, 2:30 Central Time. And we went up 21-3, I believe, if I remember right, on the road. And we took that crowd out. Then we had 3 more shots before the end of the first half. And we stalled all 3 times. And we let Florida back in that game. Let Florida believe a chance that they had a chance to beat us. And let that crowd back into that game. I want to go up in the Camp Randall. And I don't want nobody except Alabama fans jumping around when it goes into that fourth quarter. Because I know some of the people that's going, some of the tailgate people is going. Like I said, I listened to Jimmy Stein and Luke Robinson on Locked on Bama. Luke said he was going to the game. I want only our people being able to jump around going into that fourth quarter because that's Wisconsin's tradition. They jump around going into the fourth quarter just like we play basket case or the band plays basket case. And then in the fourth quarter, we play Dixieland Delight. But when it comes time to jump around, I only want people that's wearing crimson and white that says Bama to be able to jump around. Because I saw something that should bring a little bit of fire if some of our people saw it. There was these Roll Badger shirts. They said that they were selling up there.
I did see that.
Can you believe that? So they had their colors, the red and the white, which is a little bit brighter than our red. I seen somebody share the picture online. They made up these shirts in red or white with the other color writing, and it just simply said Roll Badgers. So they're taking shots at it. That's what I feel like. And they're taking Roll Tide and they're saying Roll Badgers. I mean, I think they're taking shots at it. So I hope that makes some of our guys fired up if the right people see it. And I hope it becomes fuel because I'll never forget. I can't remember. Of course, Coach Saban would do it all the time. He wouldn't let our players give other teams bulletin board material. And like he said in the end of that SEC championship in 2021, hey, you remember that rat poison you fed us? It was yummy. So, but anyway, I'm looking forward to going.
And not just for this season, but this could launch a very special season, not just for here, but the DeBoer era, right? Going on the road.
Era. Oh, for sure.
Because at times, Alabama has...
well, don't forget, I mean, he's played Wisconsin when he was at...
Indiana,
yeah, Big Ten. So he's familiar with some of these Big Ten schools, even though they may not be the same programs that they once were. But, he's familiar with that style of football.
Well, and I thought Rodney had a great comment earlier. Because we're now a morning practice team.
For sure. That 11 o'clock kick, for sure.
It doesn't have the impact that it used to.
No, because I'll never forget 2 years ago when we went to Austin and played on Fox on the big noon kickoffs. Dude, I was amped for that game. And we squeak out 20-19 win. And it was ugly. So, because I seen a video today, and it was a Coach Saban Rage compilation. And one of the very last things that was in that video was our guys. I think Dallas Turner was one of them. And I can't remember who else. But as soon as that clock hit 000 or whatever, they're doing the horns down. And he's like, hey, don't do that. And he inserts a word there that I won't say. But anyway, hey, I'm ready for this.
Roll Tide.
I hope everybody else is, and everybody, hope you get to watch it. If not, you can always listen to to CTSN right here on the Tide 100.9 app and Tide 100.9 locally in Tuscaloosa.
Thank you.
Tide, Ryan.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you, man. Let's continue. We'll go end up pretty much the entire day. Let's go to Tommy in Romulus. Tommy, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game.
Hey, Ron. How are you?
I'm good. I got a message here from one of your friends. Let me make sure I can read this. Tell Tommy you got a text from a friend and tell him let's do our own shirts. Roll the... I don't know if I want to read that. Never mind. Just
always bad.
Well, it says roll the Badger nuts. Can I say that on the air, Tommy?
I guess.
Yeah, okay.
It's better to say shift.
Shift, yes. S-H-I-F-T.
Yeah, like you're shifting gears.
Shifting gears or shifting the offensive line.
Yes, that's what Tony was saying.
Roll Tide. Yeah, that's what I know it's what he said. It sounded like something else, but it was shift.
Yeah. That's what I interpreted.
Tommy, 10-2. Would you take it?
Yes.
Okay.
If it gets you in the playoffs.
Okay.
When you get in the playoffs, it's a new day.
All right. Losing to Tennessee and Auburn, 10-2?
No, we ain't going to lose.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Bite your tongue.
My bad.
No. It'll be Tennessee worries me because they for real. But I think Georgia got something to prove. But they got a lot of pressure on them coming up here. I know we're getting ahead, but we need to take care of this week. Because I've been listening to the Big Ten Network, and they've been talking about Lou Fickell. When they hired me, they said, we know we good in the Big Ten. Alabama coming in 24.
Yeah.
To Madison.
Good point.
You know what that means. And the players talking about, I'm glad Alabama's not talking about Wisconsin. We need to clean up our mistake.
We do. Focus on us. Focus on us. Focus on us.
I don't care what Auburn does this weekend. I don't care what Georgia does. I don't care about OSU. Focus on us. Because every game now is a playoff game, in my opinion. You got 12 games to get in the playoffs. And you gotta go on them 12 games.
Yeah.
You can't coast for nobody in the SEC. If you do, you're gonna get beat. Plain and simple. So
Tommy, pretty limited right here, man, at the end.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to you more. I know your time is short, and I'll bring my story in tomorrow. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll do SEC Parlay Picks presented by Brian Hard Construction. Max, 1 minute. Let it rip. Go.
Man, Tony stole my thunder. I told my boss the day after the debate that those moderators look just like the officials in the South Florida-Alabama game. I swear I said the same thing. Tony just beat me to it on the radio. I mean, it's terrible. But we get that offensive line straightened out. We're going to be all right. And I think we can. I think we got the right pieces. We just had some people nicked up. You're going to see Bama win 41-10. And we'll roll right there in Wisconsin.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Max, appreciate you, man. Buddy. Roll Tide, man. Let's go to Marty in Arkansas. Marty, 1 minute. Let it go.
All right. Hey, if Napier or Pittman lose, will both of them have a bye next week? You think one of them get fired?
No. Not this early, I don't think.
I don't know. Pittman's pretty close. If he loses the UAB pretty bad in the open week before the A&M game. But, yeah, I'll take 10-2 this way. If we go 10-2, beat Georgia, because Georgia's going to lose another game somewhere. We'll get the tie. We'll get the SEC championship game, win it, and get in the top four.
You'll take 10-2. You would?
Yeah, I'd take 10-2, but we have to beat Georgia, because Georgia's going to lose another game somewhere, and then we get the tie to get in the SEC championship
and
game.
And we get revenge on Texas. I like this. All right.
All right. Hey, Ryan, have a good one, man.
Hey,
I'll
thank you.
Tomorrow.
Thank you. Marty in Arkansas. Let's go to Ellis in Manchester, Tennessee. He will be the last duck through the hole. Ellis, Roll Tide to you.
Roll Tide, Ryan Fowler.
Ellis, I just got to ask a real quick question.
Yep.
Do you believe in this Alabama football team?
I believe Ryan Fowler.
No, I mean, I don't. That's as least confidence as I've heard you in a year and a half. Do you really believe in this Alabama football team? Okay. Would you take 10-2 if I offered it to you right now?
Yes, because that's what I predicted that we'd go at the first year with 10-2.
I got you.
So yeah, 10-2.
10-2, and you believe.
I hate to tell you who we're going to lose to, but.